Imagine being the engine of Europe and suddenly realizing the engine is barely moving.
On paper, Germany is still Europe's biggest economy, but after years of shocks and stagnation, many are asking.
For decades, the world admired the phrase, "made in Germany." Cars, chemicals, heavy machines.
Zoom into the numbers up to early December 25, and the picture changes. After the pandemic, Germany's economy shrank in 2023, slipped again in 24, and forecasts for 2025 talk about growth so weak it almost disappears in the rounding.
Over roughly 5 years, total growth has been close to zero, as if the country has been sprinting on a treadmill, exhausted but not actually getting anywhere.
In Berlin, this stagnation has turned into a political headache, fueling debates about whether Germany's entire economic model. This is the conflict at the heart of Germany's story in late 2025. A rich industrial powerhouse.
The first shock hit through energy. For years, German industry was without gas, until the war in Ukraine.
Energy-intensive sectors like chemicals and metals suddenly faced power bills that looked more like a horror. The second shock came through trade. Germany's model depended on selling high-end goods to the world, but a more
Ahead of higher tariffs from Washington, German firms raced to ship as much as possible to America, creating a strange spike in export.
Beneath the export headlines, a quieter drama has unfolded among small businesses. In 2025,
These are not faceless corporations, but family-owned shops and tiny suppliers. The famous Mittelstand that has long... Industrial production has shown flashes of life, with some months in 25 bringing better than expected growth.
Investors see it clearly. Sentiment surveys still show Germany as a stumbling block for the eurozone, with the assessment of the current situation stuck deep in negative territory.
The third shock is homemade.
For ordinary households, the drama was first felt through inflation, as energy and food prices spiked day. And then,
Real wages, after being eaten by inflation, are finally forecast to rise again as pay deals catch up and price growth cools. Unemployment remains low by international standards, and many firms complain not about a lack of orders, but a lack of workers. The big reveal of 2025 is fiscal. Berlin has finally agreed on major reforms, loosening strict rules for...
the price is bigger deficits and slowly rising public debt. A psychological shock in a country that once preached.
If it works, Germany's old export and austerity engine could be rebuilt into something more investment-driven, betting on it. On the global ranking, Germany is still enormous, roughly the third-largest economy in the world, and the anchor of Europe. One story says the miracle is over. German car makers face fierce competition.
In this pessimistic version, aging demographics, fragmented politics, and slower growth turn Germany into a hesitant giant.
But a second story insists this is not an ending, but a reset. Germany has already faced ruin in the... Seen through this lens, 2025 is the year the engine is finally taken apart on the workbench, its parts labeled and examined.
Forecasts for 26 and 27 are not dramatic, pointing to growth just above 1% a year.
Meanwhile, ordinary Germans juggle conflicting feelings: fear of losing what they have built, and frustration that change is too slow.
No.
The choice ahead is simple to describe, but hard to execute. Stay on the familiar, comfortable path.
For Europe and the global economy, the stakes are high. If Germany can reinvent itself, it could pull the continent.
As of early December 2025, the answer is not in the data yet. Why? It lies in decisions about energy, migration, education.
Germany is still the engine of Europe, but in 2025, that engine sits on the table, half disassembled.
If you want to follow how this story unfolds, tell us what you think about Germany's economic crossroads in the comments. Hit like if this breakdown helped you.